Hi and welcome to the Thrunite channel. So today we're going to be discussing the difference between flashlights with side switches as opposed to tail switches. Alright, so I grabbed a variety of different lights here. On the left we have the Thrunite TN12 Pro. Next to that we have the Thrunite T1S. In the middle here we have the Olight Baton 3. Next to that we have a Coast pen light. This is the G20. And the last light here, all the way to the right, is a Nitecore P10i. Now all these lights have a variety of different sizes, batteries, outputs, modes, I mean you name it. This is a pretty good random mix of lights. However, they all have switches. Now not all flashlights do have switches. In some cases, especially with very small keychain lights, you might have a light that turns on by twisting the head or twisting the tail cap or something. But generally speaking, flashlights do have switches. This is what turns your flashlight on and off as well as changes the modes. Now, if you look on this Thrunite T1S, you can see this has a side switch, okay? The switch to activate the light and change the modes is on the side of the light as compared to the bottom. Now, if you look over at, say, this Coast G20, there's nothing on the side at all. The tail switch is what turns this light on, so it's on the bottom of the light. Now, on some lights, you literally have both, like this Thrunite TN12 Pro. You can see we have a side switch here, which turns on the light, but we also have a tail switch, okay? So this just happens to have both, so you have the option of using either or. Now, what are the pros and cons? Well, a lot of this comes down to preference. It really has to do with how you're actually holding the light. So in the example of the Coast G20, it's a long, slim pen style light. So having a button on the side, although there are flashlights of this shape, it's a little less common to have a side switch because generally speaking, when people use this, they're holding it in this reverse grip. Okay, so this would be a preferred grip for some people compared to a grip like this. Now, if you look at this Thrunite T1S as well as the Olight Baton 3, they're smaller, chunkier lights. They both have side switches, all right, but you wouldn't use these and in a reverse grip, okay? So you turn this on, you'd probably either hold it like this, or you can change positions and do kind of a pinch grip here with the pointer finger and thumb, but you're not going to do necessarily a reverse grip unless you push it all the way down, okay, at the bottom of your hand. You can't hold it up here because obviously it's blocking the light compared to, say, you know, this Nitecore here. The Nitecore is a very physically large light, so you can hold it back here because the head is all the way past your hand, so it's very natural to do a reverse grip. Whereas, again, with these smaller, chunkier lights, it's just a little unnatural to turn this on and then kind of choke it all the way down and do a reverse grip. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it would be rare that people would naturally do that. It's just not very comfortable. Now, one of the benefits of having a side switch is that you could do anything you want with the tail. In both cases of the Baton 3, as well as the Thrunite T1S, because the switches are on the side, they were able to put magnets on the bottom. So both of these are in fact magnetic. All right, so it gives you more options to place the lights, okay? So you can stick this in a car hood or something, have hands-free lighting inside the engine bay, and I mean, the sky's the limit really with where you want to put these magnetic tail caps. As well as when there's no tail switch, usually you get away with a very flat bottom, which allows the lights to tail stand with a lot of stability. All right, I always talk about this and the reasons why I get flashlights, but I always find it very important to have a flashlight that tail stands for something like a power outage, okay? Because I use flashlights all around my house. If I, let's say, want to go to the bathroom or something, there's no power, I can turn on this Thrunite T1S, all right? I could place it on a counter just like that, so it tail stands, and it will illuminate the entire room because the light is, facing towards the ceiling, but it's bouncing around. So I get low lighting throughout the entire room. Now, of course, the smaller the room, the brighter it is, but having that tail stand option is really important to me personally. So if I want to do that with, say, this Coast G20, which has a tail switch, I can't. However, some manufacturers do consider tail standing. All right, so going back to the Thrunite TN12 Pro, even though this has a tail switch, you can see it has the little rabbit ears is what I call them. They stick out past the switch, so I can still tail stand it, which is very nice. All right, in the case of this Nitecore P10i, unfortunately I can't tail stand it because this thing is sticking way out there. All right, and this one's a kind of unique light because they have a dedicated second button just for strobe. Okay, so if you are have any kind of medical problems with flashing lights, you might want to skip this part. I'm going to demonstrate strobe here. But you have the regular light, turn it on and off, but at any point in time, you can just hit that other button for temporary strobe, which is kind of, fascinating. But one of the downsides to this light is it does not tail stand, and it obviously does not magnetize the things, and that's because it has a tail switch, okay? So that does not allow those extra features. So of course, all different lights have different types of pros and cons and stuff, but when it comes to the buttons, it's just something to think about there. And again, with the TN12 Pro, you happen to have both. It's the best of both worlds. This happens to tail stand. Of course, it's not magnetic on the bottom, but you do have a side switch. So if I want to grab this light and hold it like this, okay, I can access all those modes from the side. Or if I want more of a tactical style reverse grip here, if I'm using this with a pistol or something, or if I just want to have that tactical grip, I have the availability of grabbing the light, turning it on and off from the tail switch, okay, and having access to all the power in this light. All right, so some of the larger lights these days do have the option of both the tail switch and the side switch. But yeah, just something to think about there when you're shopping for flashlights. You might want to consider how you're going to be gripping the light. If you have to move it around, again, if you want to grab one of these lights, which has a side switch, turn it on, you have to kind of move it around. These are small enough where you can manipulate it in your hand, so you can move it around quite easily. But obviously with some of the bigger lights, that's not possible. Okay, so like with this pen light, you have to turn it on, then change your grip if you want to hold it like this. You can't just turn it on from the side. So where that actual switch is located might be a consideration for what flashlight you want to purchase. Everyone has different situations and different wants and needs. But I just wanted to bring this topic up because it's something that's seldom talked about, the location of that switch. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you're not familiar, Thrunite does giveaways on products all the time. They are completely free to you, the viewer. If you're interested, all you have to do to enter is comment on these videos and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.